Welcome back, dear viewers. You're still watching Nile Cruise on Nile TV, and we have a very special episode today, dear viewers. And I'm joined with my colleague Karim. And of course, dear viewers, our everyday life was turned upside down during the last days and a few weeks, of course, that we have already passed and we have already taken a long period through. Educators work at full speed to provide students with the best possible support to help them to digitize the learning content, which is video, podcast, and interactive contact. By using a learning management system, many companies, as well as schools or universities, artists, other training companies, associations, or medical staff, etc., can offer their interactive e-learning formats. The sudden closure of universities' campuses across the world has necessitated the virtual delivery of the vast numbers of courses, of course. And while there has been inevitable teething problems, observers are wondering whether the future might just have become the present. Dear viewers, in this contest we have with us Mr. Ibrahim Tehewy, who is of course an educational expert and a UN consultant for development and training. And before we start, sir, I'd like to ask you or discuss a very important question. Me as a mother, and my daughters spend very difficult time studying online, and they don't find it as easy as going to school. Maybe because they're not acquainted to this. I don't know the reason. And I was talking to one of my friends, good friends, and she was discussing with me the idea that e-learning is very difficult, and that students at university, although they're very responsible, it's very difficult to make them sit in front of the computer and listen.
Yeah.
And she, as a tutor, is asked to talk for like 2 hours, which is very difficult on e-learning. So these are 2 points that I really want to point to when we're discussing this subject today.
Yeah, first, it's very, very important question. First of all, I'd like to say that I'm lucky to write an article about this matter in 2013. So I'm lucky to write this article talking about how to change from paper exam to electronic one, okay? And I sent this, or my suggestion, to Dr. Mahmoud Abu Nasr, if you remember Dr. Mahmoud Abu Nasr, when he was the Minister of Education. Yes. So I'm lucky to write this article talking about my idea, about my point of view, how to change. Why I did write that. I wrote my article after making or collecting or gathering a group of prep students, okay? And in the same time, I made an exam or assessment for them regarding poetry, drama, novel, whatever, okay? It was choices. My point of view, why, you may ask me, why did I do that? I did that as a trainer, as a teacher, because you know that we suffer from firstly correction. And if you witnessed what's happening during correction, no student takes his right. Okay, so there's some kind, I say, and I sent that to the Minister of Education, Dr. Tariq Shawi, learning from some teachers who take a correction as, okay, they are going for fun, they are going to enjoy their time. So in Thanawi Amma, for example, I hope that my son, okay, when he will be in Thanawi Amma, to be examined online or on tablet or whatever. I gathered the students and I made a computer exam. It wasn't online at all. And after that, to the surprise of my students or my learners, no one took full mark. Okay, I made that because after taking this exam, no teacher will correct. So by this way, I will be sure that every student takes result his right. This is what I needed. In the same time, I made that in 2013 because I found that some sites, you know, that suffering from cheating and something like that. So I was thinking of how to find a criteria or a way to overcome a problem which we suffered many years and we are still suffering. But after tablet, nothing will happen. E-learning and online exam in 2018 also, I'm lucky. I'm not talking here about myself, but I'm talking about documented, okay, articles. I'll be grateful if you read this, and I said that many times on many programs that in 2018 I wrote, it's due time to apply online education. Why? Or distance education. Why? I said that because I said, and imagine that in a few years, in 10 years, 20 years, okay, it isn't a must to go to school or to go to a building, university and stuff like that. I give lectures in university, for example. In front of me, many students who are traveling, for example, every day from Mansoura, from Minufaya, from Dakhaliya, from Aswan, to attend their session in the university. Okay, so can you imagine? They suffer a lot. I told them, laughing many years before. I said that many years before, expecting or predicting what may happen in the future. And so you can't imagine. I am really happy because what I dreamt of before is actually being done now by Dr. and the Minister, Dr. Tehewy, Minister of Education. So I'd like to say that all teachers are aware and should work side by side to help him, to support. And I said many times that the Minister of Education himself won't do anything and everything because he doesn't have the magic wand or magic stick. Okay, so today, for example, we have a news in Ilim al-Sabah said that the Minister of Education expelled one of the teachers who made rumors, on social media that regarding first secondary online exam that the system is off and something like that. Dr. Tehewy, I am sending from this program another message. You should be very sharp, very severe with these teachers, any kind of teachers who try hard to not to support. We don't need your support, but at least don't say any rumors on social media or to the students, because here we are suffering from, and I met and I know, I'm sure of why I'm saying, some teachers or many teachers, let's say, who are only responsible, who are only want private lessons, and nothing else. They don't want any kind of development or improvement. So as a UN counselor for improvement and development, and as a trainer in the same time, I met many trainees who don't want to change and attend also the seminar or the session to take a certificate, put it in their file, and nothing will happen. He doesn't want to change. So can you imagine these kinds of teachers? Are they going to develop or improve? Nothing will happen. Let's talk about online education or distance education. When I wrote my article in 2018 expecting that what will happen in the future, I said my point of view was what? Firstly, some parents, like as you said, your daughter, some parents suffer from what? Waking up your daughter or your son at 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock sometimes, because some students are traveling. You know that some KG or kindergarten students traveling from what? Traveling from this district to another district, or from a place.
Example to Atamiya.
Yeah. So is this kind of suffering or not? To you as a parent and to the students themselves. So online or distance education will overcome this problem. The other problem, which is what? It will prevent private lessons. And I am sure of that, and it's a challenge in front of the Minister of Education. And when I talked with Dr. Rida Hagazi, I told him that you have to be you have to be confident of your message, because I am sure that many teachers, believe me, many teachers don't want online or distance education to be successful, because you are eager only to buckets and money and private lessons and something like that.
Why, sir, will it prevent private lessons?
They are eager to complete private lessons.
Yes, why will the online studying prevent private lessons?
Yeah, why? Because I made that many years before. Using WhatsApp, for example, application. On WhatsApp, you can't imagine, and I can't forget also, one of my learners said, thanks, I'm really grateful to you. Why? She told me that at home, she stood by herself, listening to my audio, which I sent about, for example, a brief summary about Macbeth and sending the video film. So at home, can you imagine your daughter, for example, if she is sitting alone at home, away from what the capacity of the class sometimes, because I'm here talking about all schools, not only international schools or language schools. I am talking about many kinds and sectors of governmental, experimental, or international, or language school, or we have also the national institutes. So, and some students, I was talking with one of the officials, said that we have the capacity in governmental schools more than hundreds per class. So can you imagine if we applied online again, every student will get his right to learn as it should be. In class, okay, among his students, 60 or 80, I think there is no learning education. There is no education at all. The teacher is suffering. So the teacher now at home, okay, in the garden, he is traveling, he is in Egypt, or he is in another country, and descending or dealing by many programs. I think you hear about many programs like Google, for example, Zoom, like Edu, okay, education. We are dealing with these sites to send our message. Dealing with our students, it's very, very important. And by this way, all students are going to listen in a quiet atmosphere, in a quiet environment. If I want to send them video film, for example, which most of the teachers don't apply at schools, they are going to watch a video film for drama, for whatever, okay, for math, for science, or whatever the subjects they are studying. In the same time, he is studying in a quiet place, quiet atmosphere. There is no, for example, bullying from his students, okay? There is nothing called like quarreling or, you know, that students with each other at school.
Disrupting the class, getting into problems.
The atmosphere is changed totally. And here, I'd like to say that all the teachers should work hard. Okay, and I would like to appreciate the efforts from most of the teachers all over Egypt, whether in governmental or experimental or national institutes. They started to make what? YouTube for themselves, visualize themselves, making many lessons, and in the same time, we have on YouTube many previous lessons. Okay, so we don't wait some teachers to make or to upload or visualize some videos. They are already done, okay? And if you want to search, for example, if I imagine I'm studying with my son social studies, for example, I'm talking about Muhammad Ali. When I watch with each other on YouTube, okay, I think he began to, he won't forget, because he began to imagine what happened from this age to, or this era to another era, what happened, for example, in the invasion, there is the invasion of the English army and the French camp, and so on. So if you imagine that we changed the traditional way of education, and I'm interested in creativity, because I made many sessions talking about creativity, how to change from traditional teaching to a creative one, and I made many sessions related to this topic, and many years before I was talking about how to change from traditional way to creative one, and I found, for example, some teachers, for example, who enter the class with all the facilities and the equipments. Those teachers who, for example, are teaching history, for example, he is wearing or trying to imitate the character of whatever, the king of any country. By this way, you are going to attract. So we lack the point of attraction. I send this message to all teachers who are watching me now. Attraction, we lack this. In the same time, we lack motivation. Most of the students should be motivated. Let's return back to online and distance education. I see that we are going to overcome private lessons, which some or most of the teachers don't want, okay, to stop, because if we give them as a minister, if I were the Minister of Education and I give every teacher, okay, I'm in the field, I'm talking as one of them, okay, I'm not away from, came from umbrella from another country, no, I am here, I am Egyptian teacher, and I'm saying that on my responsibility, I know that many teachers who don't want to improve, don't want to change themselves, okay, when they take many trainings with the Ministry of Education, I'd like to say that the Ministry of Education paid a huge amount of money, much money on training, for example, okay, and as a trainer, we give many sessions related to creativity, for example, but I found some teachers sitting like that because they are eager only to take a certificate and put it in their file. We have to change, it's a due time to change, and I dream, as I wrote in my article, that 10 years or not more than that, I can't say 20 years, no, 10 years from now, you are going to say that there was a person called Ibrahim, he said or he imagined that it isn't a must to travel from Do'i to Baadi, from Maadi to desert roads and whatever, because learning should be at any place, because we have all the facilities, from WhatsApp, from Facebook, which I actually made many years, and I was in fact honored by that.
Sir, speaking about the readiness of the public and private schools for this digital transformation, do we have a proper LMS or learning management system that the schools can apply in order to make this process that you've talked about easier for both the learners and the teachers?
So here your question is very important. I was talking about this matter, this affair, with one of the common people who his son is in governmental schools. He was talking, and all the time he was criticizing the system or the new system of the Ministry of Education.
Education 2.0.
Yes, step by step I began to convince him about what will happen, and I told him, firstly, you are a parent, I'm a parent. Your son travels every day. He told me, yes, he will be at home. Which is better for you? Expenses every day, and you have to hire a bus or hire a car for your students, or should be at home. It's better for me to stay at home. In the same time, you are talking about the governmental sector. What do we need? We need the facilities which is online, WhatsApp. Can you imagine now? I said that many times, that the poor people, and I am from the poor people, I respect them, I talk with them. All the poor people, can you imagine no one has a mobile? I think all of them has mobiles. That's right?
Phones even. Yes.
All of them have mobiles. So Dr. Tariq Shawi, he challenged them, saying that if anyone don't or are not able to send the search, which is going to happen, and I hope to talk about this research, how it will happen from prep or primary stage till secondary stage. He said that if you don't have the facility or internet, send it documented paper to the principal, and the school itself will send it to us. So he didn't leave a space. He didn't leave a question to anyone to ask. So you are asking again on focusing about the governmental sector. What about the equipment? What about the ability? No, I am here talking about all the Egyptians are able, and they can. We are all can if we listened, if we understood. If we don't listen to those teachers who try to criticize and using the social media to talk day after day to try to stop and prevent this new system, which I'd like to be successful in the future, and it will be successful, but with the hands of those pioneer teachers. Those teachers who want to work, those teachers who are really honest teachers.
Yes.
Sir, do you think that after coronavirus is over and we're done, some institutes will continue with their e-learning?
I hope so. I say that we are on the first station. The train, I think, has started to move, and I think that, please, I send my message again to Dr. Tariq Shawi, try to insist on your message. We are all with you, we are all behind you. This very important question, because I hope in the coming days, in the coming month, I think all the students, when they listen, when they watch, because we are working on WhatsApp and the groups, and many schools made actually the groups. Can you imagine that most of the students are very happy? Why? Because they are free now. They don't have to wake up from 6 o'clock and spend for example, 7 or 8 hours at school, wasting most of its time, especially in governmental schools, because they waste their time doing nothing. Okay, can you imagine that? Most of the teacher who wasted the time only to say, please keep quiet, please Ahmed, please Muhammad, wastes his time, most of the teachers, for what? For making the environment of the class quiet. Now you are at home as a teacher. This is an advantage for you. This is a merit. This is, if you want to talk about the pros and the cons of, I think in my point of view, all the advantages with online. Okay, and here, by the way, when we, I hope that coronavirus will, after a month, after 2 weeks, okay, to pray Allah for that, we all, the world will suffer from that problem. After this problem will finish, and I think we'll finish, okay, in a hurry. But I would like to say that we hope to continue. Why? To give, it will be for the benefit of our students, whether they are primary, whether they are prep, whether they are secondary, okay? Because you may ask you also another question, do you see that, what about primary stage? We have to deal face to face with the teachers. Okay, I'd like to answer this question. Can you imagine that most of our daughters now and sons take their culture from where? From media, from TV, not from school. That's right. Most of it from school, I know. And in the same time, at home, the role of home is very, very important. But it's due time for our learners to stay at home, to be calm, and especially in this era, especially in these circumstances which we live. And after that, we are going to complete online for the benefit of the teachers, who are going to exert great efforts to make video films, to make everything for any, whatever the subjects they are teaching. In the same time, for the benefit of the students who are going to stay at home, to be relaxed and listening. And here, I'd like to also appreciate the great efforts by Dr. Tehewy, who made AKB, okay, Egyptian Knowledge Bank. It's very important because here we want this new generation to be researcher. It's very important to research, to make research, and this research which is acquired to do from you know, that third primary to third prep. They are going to make research.
What's AKB, sir?
AKB, Egyptian Knowledge Bank, which the president himself, President Abdel Sisi, okay, gave due care for this sites. It's not only for educational system or for the Ministry of Education, but EKB, or Egyptian Knowledge Bank, he said that it's a due time for culture. He wants a new generation to be cultured, to know much information, and to be the man of the world, as we say. We can't create another generation to be the man of the world without what? EKB. So I'd like here to, to ask all the viewers in front of you and who are watching this episode to try to surf it and to try to know, because it's very, very fantastic. And Dr. Tehewy said that we made a cooperation with many, like National Geographic, for example. He made and bought video films, cost the money, and here I'm talking about the country itself, Egypt, millions of dollars, okay? So it's due time to create a generation who are capable of and able to read more and more, to search. We need the students who are able to find, to self-learning, which we okay, to, and many times in many training we say that it's also the due time to create a new generation and students who are center education, not center teacher. Because you know that our traditional way in teaching is center teacher. Which is difference between center teacher and center education. Center teacher, this is the traditional way that I talk all the time like a parrot in class, okay, leaving my students to listen to me only. So this is passive learning, but we want to change, and in many trainings I say that we have to change to center the class. Center class means what? The students themselves should search and find the information, work with each other like the Japanese, which I talked the main episode of the Japanese experiment is very, very important, and find the information, to read more and more, to find the search, not to let them spoon feeding and giving them everything and every information.
Okay, sir, before we wrap up this segment, of course we have to hail the efforts and praise the efforts made, of course, by Dr. Tehewy.
Of course, yes.
I swear to mention he did a wonderful job throughout the crisis. However, you are looking at the optimistic side of the e-learning and the online learning for students.
Yeah.
However, there are students that do not really understand till the day online, and they are not up
Yeah.
to the standard of sitting in front of a laptop and studying, because they need somebody supervising them all the time.
Yeah.
This needs private lessons still, so we did not overcome private lessons to online.
Okay, will you believe me when I say that? Your daughter, for example, I think most of our daughters and sons are professionally using social media. That's okay? Especially in games. Especially, like TikTok, okay? Especially in social networking sites. That's right? I'd like to ask all parents, don't believe your sons and daughters because they are better than us. What's the problem? The problem that they are accustomed many decades of what? Of traditional way. Can you believe that when we change, is it something easy? No, it is not something easy for teachers and for learners. But believe me, e-learning here or online education, it will be very fruitful, very important, and I can't believe any students because my sons teach me sometimes, okay, some information I don't know. They are professional in social networking, but they don't like games. They search games and find it. Why? Because it's attractive. And here the attraction point is very important when they search, because you don't want to exert effort. Okay, they are going to be researcher, and this generation we want, okay, small researchers from now, because you know that the market work needs what? Needs a qualified generation who will travel and to be the man of the world, as you say. This can't be achieved with what? With the traditional students who all the time spoon-feeded, and at the same time he got the information from a parrot or center teacher. We want to change. Now it's a new time to change. In primary, we began to start to do that in primary, especially first and second primary. And because you know that many parents asked why did Dr. Tariq Shawi started from primary stage, because he wanted to, because here in Thanaama we have a stone, okay, a blocking stone. He wanted to explode and he managed it. In the same time primary, because it is a base of the pyramid, is very important to start from.
Yes, Mr. Ibrahim, we hope that the educational process post-coronavirus won't be as it was pre the outbreak, and we hope all the best for our students and our upcoming generations. Mr. Ibrahim al-Tehewy, UN consultant for training and development and an educational expert, thank you so much for being with us on Nile Cruise on Nile TV International.
I'm really grateful to you. Thank you.
And dear viewers, now we move on to a quick break, and then we'll be back to resume this very special episode of Nile Cruise only on Nile TV International.